So we're checking to feel the weight of the hive to let us know how much honey they have, to make sure they have enough for winter, because they survive off of the honey and pollen in the hive for the whole winter until stuff starts blooming in March. So I'm checking the weights, and then we are in some cases consolidating if they have too much space for the population, because the queen will slow down her laying for the winter, and the population kind of just gets to a, what do you call that, skeleton crew? So that they can just take care of the brood that they have. They need to keep it warm enough. And then in the spring, the queen starts ramping up and laying more. And the colony will grow in the spring. So you don't want to have them with like an overabundance of space that they can't manage, but you do want them to have enough food. So it's like a balance. So we'll be checking that out, and I'm going to be using smoke, which calms them down. So it does two things. It interferes with their alarm pheromone. They communicate with the pheromones, like if there's danger, then you can actually smell if the bees are really mad. They have like a certain smell. But so this interferes with that in case they're using that pheromone. And then it also redirects their attention towards consuming food, because in nature, if they smell smoke, then it means there's a fire, and it means they might need to evacuate their home. So the smoke, just instead of like going after us, they'll start eating the honey, because if they have to leave, they'll leave with a belly full of honey so they can survive. But that's just like what they're doing instinctually. Yeah. As far as safety, you guys are completely safe. You want to make sure ankles are covered. That's like a spot that they tend to go to if they can. Again, I think these hives are very nice, so we shouldn't have to worry about that. Ankles, and then once we zip our hoods up, you'll want to make sure it's just fully zipped so they can't get in this little spot. But other than that, you guys are fully suited up, so you're completely safe. It might take a little getting used to hearing the buzzing close to your ears, but just know that you're totally safe, and you can always back up if you feel like it. This is all capped honey. This is just pollen. Yeah, I would back up maybe a little bit more. The wind is not helping. But did you see that? How they like started flying out at us? Yay! So this is the brood. You guys can get closer now. They're calmer now that I smoked them. But you can see some capped brood on this side. You see that?
So when they're like piling up the amount of honey they have in there.
I think it's good. I'm gonna leave them with the super, just because there's still a good population. But these two boxes are, I would say, like medium heavy. This is the time of year too that they start to get a little more defensive.
There's not much, I guess, you know, when there's a lack of food, they want to protect what they have.
And that there's no food, they're a little grumpy because of that.
I get
like in the spring, everything's blooming, they're happy. I mean, yeah, in this brood pattern, you can also tell, just because it's so spotty. See, when the brood dies like that, they've uncapped it, they're going to pull it out, but it's probably because there's mites.
So I was thinking they were just laying that, but that's not true. So sometimes when you see brood, if any of you want to see where it's white,
look kind of like a skeleton.
That's what the larvae look like, and then they cover it over. But she's saying that is actually brood that has died.
So they're very hygienic. If anything dies in the hive, they take it out. So any brood, that brood probably had mites. So they'll pull that dead brood out. And
there, So we've been trying to figure out, is it time to take our super off? Like, all of it is a little bit of
Just a
judgment.
judgment call. Yeah, there's never like a right answer. Usually if you ask, they say if you ask 10 beekeepers the same question, you'll get 11 different answers.
I feel a little better. But I have really been.
But in the spring, it's like sometimes every 2 weeks that we're coming. So I'm putting a ventilation. I make sure all of our hives are ventilated through the winter, because when they're hot on the inside and it's cold on the outside, condensation can build up and it accumulates on the inner cover, and it can drip down on the bees and make them cold and wet. So yeah, condensation is a killer over winter. It's like counterintuitive, because you would think you want to like close them off as much as you can, but they need to breathe.
And is that true?
Yeah, this is, I think, probably the sunniest location. I mean, they don't get any shade, but they've done really well here. We don't see any hive beetles, which is something that we see. It's like not as dangerous as a mite, but it's kind of like a pest for them.
And they definitely